Thursday was insane. So we cashed 3 5 flexes on PrizePicks. Here you can see the third one, 150 to win 1500. And then we also came close with some double ups. So here we would have won the full 5,000, the full 10x payout if Andrew Heaney would have gone under 15 and a half outs, but he got to 18. So overall, pretty good day. 2 for 3 so far on the underdog entry I gave out, and back to the drawing board. A ton of more player props for today on PrizePicks. So let's just go ahead, let's get into it. So my first play is right here. It's from the OddsJam screen. So basically what this tool allows you to do is see the full grid, right? A full layout for a specific market. So in this case, we're looking at NBA player points and assists. And the way I use this screen is I hunt for discrepancies, right? So every book, the fantasy sites, Underdog Fantasy and PrizePicks, so PrizePicks is where I have plays today, they all have Morant's line at 36.5. There's no value in the market. But if you look at Desmond Bane, it's really clear PrizePicks is off from the market. So PrizePicks has Desmond Bane's line at 29.5 points plus assists. Underdog is at 28.5. No House Advantage is at 29. All the sports books, so we have dozens of data points, telling us where this line should be set. So all these sports books are also at 28.5. So because all these books set lines independently, as a sharp bettor, you're really hunting through the market with the odds screen, and you're looking for discrepancies. So Morant, there's no discrepancies, no value. We don't want to touch the play with a 10-foot pole. For Desmond Bane, PrizePicks is too high, right? Their line's at 29.5. All the books are at 28.5, or NHA's at 29. All the data points are telling us, this line should be lower, so we want to hit the under. Literally every sportsbook has this line at 28.5. PrizePicks is the only one with it at 29.5, so we want to take the under. And that's the first play I went with for today. So I've explained this before, but there's different tools that I use to find value on PrizePicks. So another tool I use pretty frequently is called the OddsJam Positive Expected Value tool. And basically what you're going to notice about, PrizePicks that makes it a pretty interesting platform is PrizePicks, they don't vary your payouts, right, based on you selecting overs or unders. So if I switch this from an over to an under, I switch this to an under, I switch this to a different pick, right? It doesn't matter. Any 5 picks you select, you're always getting the same payout, right? If you go 5 for 5, 10x, 4 for 5, 2x, 3 for 5, you get a 0.4x payout. So basically, because PrizePicks isn't going to change your payout based on you selecting overs or unders, all you want to do, the strategy for beating them, is you want to find spots where sportsbooks have one side heavily favored. So for example, for Lucas Giolotto, all the sportsbooks have his over 5.5 strikeouts as the heavily favored outcome. So this is a profitable bet, profitable MLB player prop on PrizePicks with a 1.89% profit margin. And as always, we're just following the data. So all the sportsbooks have Giolotto's over heavily favored. Pinnacle, the sharpest sportsbook in the world, they have this at minus 143. So we have all these data points, right? All these different sports books, and they're all telling us the same thing. Hey, Giolotto, he's a lot more likely to go over as opposed to under. So we want to include his over in our PrizePicks entry. Again, because PrizePicks does not change your payout based on you selecting over or under, you just want to find spots where sportsbooks have one side heavily favored, and that's exactly what the positive EV tool does for you, right? It pulls in these thousands of odds from PrizePicks, millions of odds from all these different sports books when you add it up, and it just shows you value, right? So it shows you those spots on PrizePicks, just the bet in bold and in green, Giolotto over 5.5 Ks, where books have one side heavily favored, and in this case, it's Giolotto's over. I mean, I'm just following the data. All the sports books have this around minus 140 odds. We're getting it in our PrizePicks entry. The over's heavily favored, so the over's a lot more likely to hit according to the sports books. So this is a sharp player prop bet to include in our PrizePicks entry. So then we move on to another MLB player prop. So sure, the profit margin is slightly lower, but it's DeGrom over 8.5 strikeouts, right? So DeGrom, now a Ranger, a little weird to see, but you're going to see here all the sports books, unsurprisingly, he has a pretty high strikeout line. All the books have his over heavily favored. Sure, it's a pretty high strikeout line, 8.5 Ks, but we're following the data, right? I say this all the time, never follow your gut. 99% of sports bettors, they follow their gut, and that's why they lose money. That's why the books are in business. You got to do something different. And the way you beat PrizePicks is you just look for spots where books have an over or an under heavily favored. And you can see for DeGrom, all the books have is over, pretty heavily favored, around like minus 145 odds. So we're following the data. All the sports books are telling us, yo, he's a lot more likely to go over as opposed to under. Right? These sports books have better data feeds, better models than us. They've invested hundreds of millions of dollars in their ability to set lines, price lines. And also, you got to remember, sportsbook odds are a reflection of the market, right? Like if every sharp bettor and every sports betting syndicate started pounding DeGrom's under, if all the sharp bettors were like, no, the under should be more likely, then they would all bet the under at plus money and the sportsbooks would drop the odds. Right? This is a market. Just like people buy a stock if they think it's undervalued, the price goes up. People sell a stock if they think it's overvalued, the price goes down if there's more supply than demand. It's no different in sports betting. If this isn't what the market believed and DeGrom's under should actually be favored, it already would be favored. Right? All of the sharp bettors, the betting syndicates, they would hammer his under at plus money, at plus 114 odds, if they believed the under was more likely. So we're just following the data in the market. We're following, sportsbook odds to find spots where one side is heavily favored on PrizePicks, and in this case, it's DeGrom over 8.5 Ks. So that's a third pick I went with, and then Kevin Huerter over 10.5 points. So I've explained this before, but like a second tool you can use on OddsJam is called the fantasy screen. So this tool works pretty similar to the EV tool. So you're going to see DeGrom over 8.5 strikeouts. That's a play here. So all this tool does is it quantifies for you based on sportsbook odds how likely is your bet to win. So DeGrom over 8.5 strikeouts, because all the books have his over pretty heavily favored, around like minus 145, minus 150 odds. OddsJam is telling us this bet, right, this over is 55.53% to hit. So the over is a lot more likely than the under, and this tool just quantifies you the probability that bet wins. So all you want to do with the fantasy screen is take these picks in green. So you're going to notice there's some overlap from the EV tool. Huerter over, DeGrom over, Lucas Giolito over. So we took all the three of those overs, and then there's two more player basis plays, right? So for Paul DeJong and Jake Myers, all the books have their over half of the base as the heavily favored outcome, around like minus 140 odds. So getting this in our PrizePicks entry is a steal deal. So I have a few different options for you. I went with Giolito over 5.5 Ks, DeGrom over 8.5 Ks. I say this all the time. All I do is I follow the data, right? I'm never betting with my gut. I'm always following the market, looking for value, right? So then we have the Bain under 29.5 points plus assists. And then I have Keegan Murray under 11.5 points, which you can see right here, also from the fantasy screen. So then that's my first play. And then my second play is I just threw in a 6 pick. I added in this Jake Myers over half of a base. And then here, I made another 6 pick with DeJong over half of a base. So again, following the data, making different profitable PrizePick slips. I'm sure I'll have more videos today. More value will be out in the market today. Let's make some money.